So it has been a while before I've been on Broken System, Broken People. Um, I want to focus more on where my heart is at and has always been, and I've been working towards even through the worst times. With sustainable connection, I feel like it's just been, you know, left behind, but that's not true. I've actually built more of a network. Um, Food rescue and psychedelic healing, somatic healing, all these other things. So then going through my own additional trauma and stuff, and of course, injustice because the world loves to pick on me because I keep it real, I guess. Um, but yeah, dealing with testing for autoimmune disease from probably not being able to regulate my trauma and anxiety. But I try. Just got done doing yoga. My little meatball here is the best service dog. Yeah. But what happened? You got boo boo? What happened? Show you boo boo. Show the boo boo. Hurt his ankle. Um, so yeah. I am still not giving up on accountability. And now at the new presidency and administration, I have moved forward with that. Now, this might not sound the nicest or whatever, but I'm just going to say it. So, a lot of the homeless, drug addicts, and stuff like that, they are currently not in what we would quantify as a human state. They lost their morality. They aren't clean in every way possible. They are predatory and all sorts of other things. Um, and it's not to say all because I still help out in my community when I can. Because I've been there, been through hell. So I really try not to judge, but you can only be afraid and disgusted so many times where you have to admit, like, okay, that might not have been my situation, or most women, survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and things like that. But, um, you know, this current thing of these like housing first type initiatives and the permanent supportive housing and stuff, it's got to stop. Nobody should be working, 40 plus hours a week. They run home, they were on their way home, they go to stop to pick up, groceries, and then at King Supers or City Market or whatever, wherever you are, you're being harassed. And all the police can do is put up like a RoboCop in the parking lot. That's like a thing now. Lock your vehicles. And the problem doesn't stop. Uh, and then, you have some time on the weekend to play with your kids and you go to the park, but there's fentanyl foils everywhere or people all strung out and you can't use the park that you pay your tax dollars for if you're working, your butt off. Or me, somebody who realized I'm better off just going big on everything that I've worked on because there is no help. The system is designed to keep people down. This is the homeless industrial complex. It's real. They are growing addiction and homelessness like a cash crop. Um, there are quite a few people. I have been working with federal authorities because the state doesn't seem to care about the exploitation, the fraud, the embezzlement, and how their actions prove they do not care about the disabled and they will discriminate and they will violate people who dare to speak up. And look, I understand some of these people, you become like jaded. They can repulse you. In all truth, you would lock your car door if they were next to you in a parking lot. So to act, it's been like this disgustingness, I don't know if that's a word, um, where certain people with certain political ideals are pretending to have like the morality and the other side is horrible and stuff, and the other side has, doesn't care. That's not true. I looked into these wellness farms. In fact, Sustainable Connection, which is mostly liberal libertarian types, um, I have quite a few wellness farms in there that believe, that helping people doesn't just mean an 30-day, 60-day stay, 90-day stay in an institution. They believe in healing the whole body and mind. If I did not, through my worst trauma and abuse and the way, and it's all going to be straightened out pretty soon, it's in the works, but through all that, if I did not choose mountains and trying to eat healthy, and if I went to drugs and psych meds and hung around these people, I don't think I would be alive because I probably would have lost my dog and I can't live without him. So he's my magical beastie. All right. He's such a good boy. But I believe that every experience that I've had, whether falsely led into it or not, is going to lead to something big. I mean, it has to. Just trying, I'm in this like place where I'm like, I don't want government assistance. All this help, I'm just making someone money who is not doing anything but trying to hurt me. Oh, and I've got the proof, of it all. So, and then I guess there's a little bitterness because you're watching like all these people who are just committing crimes, constantly preying on elderly and young people and stuff like that. And you're watching them like get all, the coddling and milking the system and all this stuff. And it's like, I really do. I haven't been doing this for 20 years. Like, I really do want to improve myself and be independent and be a better person and all these other things. So I have a meeting on Tuesday where I'm trying to figure out where, because I have a bachelor's degree and extra certifications and training and stuff and some extra credits, but I'm not going to go for my master's. How do I incorporate this into connecting people, looking at the political landscape and getting rid of, housing first and making it treatment first, and wellness farms might not be for everyone, but it's not a concentration camp. Like I'm doing better than most people who find themselves in these bad situations, and it worked for me to, maybe I'll lead mountain retreats. I don't know. It's this network that I've built. I would like to get the website and database and all that stuff going. My computer skills have to be brushed on. I decided coding was too complicated. I think with my brain trauma, it's not as easy as it used to be. And I was kind of going to go towards like cryptography, and I just don't think my brain can do it. Trying, but I can still do, the basics. So hopefully I can design that website. I think I still have like Dreamweaver. God, it's probably so outdated on one of my all-in-one. We'll see. If not, I'm sure I can pull something together. So yeah, but where I can get a certification in this field, that is more my speed. I was thinking of being a peer recovery coach, but in all truth, I have to protect myself from the people that I'm ultimately trying to help because the current system has made them so dangerous and predatory. Um, and they have been so conditioned to believe that they have no power and the world's like owes them something and they have a right to use drugs and give me, give me, give me. And that would be fine if they stayed in one place, but they don't. They bring down young people who are probably mentally younger through disabilities because I witnessed some horrible stuff there. Um, and the ideology that preys on them and profits on them and does not want them to get better and covers it up and abuses people who dare to speak up against it. Um, so I've been working on that for a while. People reached out to me, and I thankfully was able to confirm the stories of horrific crimes that happened. Um, Despite I have whole chains of evidence showing that I reached out to counselors and housing managers and stuff, that people were in danger by certain people that had no business being around them, but they opted to ignore me because I'm nothing, right? I'm just a piece of garbage who's going to listen to me. Well, 2 years of abuse later, somebody was hurt very badly, and I'm not okay with that. What was just the same people preying on people and running amok and drugs and chaos, and it's like, and other people that weren't full blown alcoholics, people losing their minds, like complaining about the contamination with all the meth and fentanyl and stuff in these properties. So it's really bad. So they really need that fresh air at that wellness farm. But it's just this spread, it spreads like a cancer. Um, so exposing these people who just, they're not good, they don't care, and then to have like they have, moral superiority or something. No, you don't. And to act like things that actually work, that you probably supported 2 years ago, what, all of a sudden is a concentration camp, like, you're crazy. um but again, I do understand how it is easy to kind of get frustrated with these people and feel like they're hopeless and all this stuff, because they're disgusting. I mean, even through all this confirming and them like reaching out to me and me being so patient and so tolerant and trying to be understanding, you know, just it was like, I think four or five of them were men, old men with nothing to offer anybody. But the second that you don't give them what you want or let them know you're talking to another male, even though you're like 300 miles away, young enough to be their daughter, um, and you have like, I don't know. I don't know how to like nicely put it with sound. I'm like, I'm not like a man hater, but I do give, a chance. Like, I don't know, I try to think of like, I had a grumpy uncle that did not always talk appropriately or whatever, but you know, these are deeply disturbed individuals, who it's probably not safe to be around or encourage any further. But the disgusting names that I was called, and whatever, just they hate women, they hate themselves. Um, like I could understand having like, wanting like to give up on them and all that stuff. And I am to an extent. Like I have everything that I need. I have the records, everything has been confirmed. I asked the people, the local authorities there and stuff like that, to look out for them, before, if anything, if and when it happens. I gave them resources and other agencies who could rehouse them and all that stuff. So, I still felt that they deserved that. Um, I'm not the one to deal with them at that level. It's just not safe for me. Obviously, why would I stress myself out? I'm not a psychiatrist or a, 30-year drug counselor. Um, it's not my circus, not my monkeys at that level. But I did witness the corruption and defrauding, of government money and all sorts of stuff like that. So that is where I'm focused, on the bigger picture. And then I would hopefully like to reach out, to RFK Jr., because I actually do have some connections. I want to get my plan together, so he can really push this wellness farm idea because I really do believe it. And look, it may not be for everyone. I don't think things should truly like be by force. It'll be an open, beautiful, true healing type thing. And maybe I can offer other services. I have friends in equine therapy, psychedelic healing, somatic healing, different types of farming, from biodynamic to aquaponic. So I do think that that's something that could be really, really cool. And the higher levels of government seem to appreciate my efforts. Uh, it just was like, hey, this is already in here. I reported this here. I reported this there. Why didn't it go anywhere? Oh, because I come to find out, Doge tells you why. Nobody showed up to work. Nobody cared. And then I'm exposing to this very day that certain agencies have a financial incentive to cover it up as the problem continues to get worse and worse and worse. It's not just the life of these, addicts who might like repulse you at times. Um, it is the kid who ends up picking up a foil in a park and dying. Um, the teenager, you can't even experiment anymore. The teenager who smokes a joint and it's laced with fentanyl and they're dead. There's just a thing in Washington where like 3 kids overdosed. Um, so it's just horrible and it's got to stop. And I always want to be part of the solution, not the problem. Um, so yeah, but I cannot directly help these people, but I can stop them from being exploited with the information and stuff that I've obtained over the years. I can offer a solution when they're ready, an option for a solution. So that's where I'm at. Um, but yeah, the place that I initially broke the news on, nothing has changed. I did separate myself from that as much as I could to heal and get my own feet on the ground, but I realize I'm probably better off doing what I do without all these people just, hell bent on keeping you down so they can, get government grants because they can't offer anything real and substantial. So they want to keep people down. Um, yeah, so I mean, you got to see it, but I am doing a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I have a dog that can't walk right for another week or two. Just my week is dentist tomorrow, and they won't cover my tooth, which is, it's broken, it hurts. It was approved for a root canal at my last dentist, but I don't need a root canal. I just need a crown because there's nothing left to fill. I grind my teeth from stress. Anyway, so I have the appointments for to start to get some certification. What do I have? What is Wednesday? Oh, mammogram. Um, I have another more lab stuff to do. I've been training for a part-time job, on top of donating plasma and selling stuff on Marketplace and doing whatever the hell else I can, to get by and get ahead. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Trying to get my garden together and do more yoga and mindfulness and stuff. Because my body has not been in the best of shape. Just the stress. And so like, you're in pain when you don't work out all the time. I most likely have some sort of autoimmune thing going on. Thought it was lupus. They put me on steroids. It was last year. So I'm finally healing from the bloating and what I weight gain and all that stuff from the steroids. I'm off them. I will not take them again. Probably don't even have lupus. Might have something else. Who knows? I don't have a Hashimoto's. I still think I could have Cushing's, but whatever. But anyway, this is what I've been dealing with. And trying to, fight injustice and all this stuff because when I speak and have a YouTube channel, people want to destroy me. When I'm terrorized by drug addicts and confidential informants and really bad people who aren't offering the police any great information or anything, just, you know, what, to put numbers or something? Because where are all these big busts? Where are they all? I have video of that whole thing, and that is all being worked out. But I was terrorized by a confidential informant after moving here to get away from California, where I was viciously raped, defamed, stalked, harassed. So I have a lot of trauma to unload. I've had a vicious mother who was, I don't even know how to explain it because it's so, point is, I'm not a psychiatrist, but she basically screwed up when my dad, look, he was terminal. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, but this is why, you know, I'm so disciplined, and I will fight before escaping reality with drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff. I get really high, 14,000 feet high. I do. My dog and I do a lot of 14ers. It's kind of our thing. So, but why I will, you know, try anything before doing that, because it makes you a bad person. It does, and it is a choice. It affects your children. I am a child of addicts, alcoholics, but an addiction is an addiction. The lengths they will go to cover it up and to cover up their actions and the effects of it. Because my father's pancreatic cancer was so aggressive and quick because his liver was completely rotted. So, and this wasn't like my father worked. He did not, you know, he was educated yet. We had a nice house and a nice town and, you know, all this stuff. But, you know, a couple of beers every day will kill you one way or another, and it can make you a jerk sometimes. So, you know, we all have our battles. But anyone should be hooked on drugs, crying about how the world screwed them over. It is absolutely me. But somehow I always try to see the bright side, and the universe sent me an abused, abandoned, muzzled husky, right? And they tied his mouth shut, and he sings like it's nobody's business. If I could find that harmonica, I'll show you, but I don't know if I can. But they couldn't tie his mouth shut. They won't tie my mouth shut. I'm a good person. I persevere. And if I'm not a statistic with already, you know, baseline being a neurodivergent, ADHD, I know it's like, I'm Aspie's. Like, I don't know why you can't say that anymore. It's ridiculous. But that's like my baseline. The world already thinks I'm weird and different and whatever. Child of all sorts of abuse and addiction. So survivor of all sorts of abuse and, yeah. When I was young, I was really vulnerable and really like naive. Like you could just string me along with anything. So that kind of ruined my life in my 20s, but I got over that. Went back to college, did what I had to do. And then what else? But yeah, and then the additional trauma and all this other stuff and losing everything and really, you know, ended up with nothing but your heart, and my doggy. I could have just become a statistic and made it all go away by getting high all day. It's not hard, but I didn't. So nobody else gets to do that and at my expense or anybody else's. So yeah, this is longer than I wanted it to be. I am going to work on the sustainable connection, the blueprint, revising that whole business model and everything. I am excited. I can't believe that the people with these connections would still give them to me. And, but they're like, you've been through hell and you know, you're pretty awesome. It's funny, the most, like, the people that respect me the most, I met in, like, DC. Um, like, through pretty, these events and stuff like that, which is just funny because I've been with all sorts of, like, causes and stuff like that. And it was the people who actually really had influence that really respected me, even though, I would tell them these crazy stories and, like, oh well, like, police suck. They lie. This, like, nope, never doubting me. So that's where I'm at. And nobody else should believe in anybody else unless they believe in themselves. That's where I'm at. And setting my boundaries and just having that acceptance, like, you tried in every way you could. These people proved what they are and why these people, the left and housing first, and these, oh, addiction's not a choice. Here's a needle, here's a crack pipe. People who profit from this insanity and cancer that continues to grow feel that they can, but you can't. And even though maybe I can't directly do it, you can't directly do it, there are people who can, and there's going to be more options that have more successful results and stuff like that. So, yeah. Onwards and upwards. And sustainable connection might finally be blossoming within the next 2 years. And I have people who offered me land, gotta check up on that and all that other stuff. And it'll just be a start that, that keeps on growing and makes this world a better place. And all the hell that I've been through was for something, right? Because it's gotta be.